Welcome back to the Schmoedown replay. What's going on, guys? We're the Cinefanatics. My name's Chris Adams.
And my name is, I'm so tired. I just got home from work, and let's get this going because it's going to be a great show. And it's also happens to be Robert Adams. Ooh, yeah. Get that energy up there at the top of the show. Let's get this thing moving.
No, like you literally just walked in the door. That's why we're a little bit late tonight on this one, but you literally just walked in the door.
Oh, yeah. But needless to say, I was in a rush because I am eager for this one tonight. This is going to be so much fun. We've got Brendan Meyer taking on Marc Andreyko. This is a really good matchup. I am eager for this one. But first, we need to introduce our special guest for tonight that is joining us. You might know him from the Schmoedown because he's in the episode that we're going to be watching tonight. You might also... and I like this joke, so I'm going to use it again. You might also know him from the thumbnail that we have because he's on the thumbnail. Of course, we have to market this thing. He was also in the Netflix show The OA, and more recently at the beginning of this year in Richard Stanley's Color Out of Space, which I absolutely love. We'll talk about some more here in a minute. I'd like to introduce, and as far as I know, the Texas way of introducing him, according to one Brad Gilmore, the boat, is to call him the fine young tenderoni. It is Brendan Meyer. Welcome,
Hello.
Sir.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
I'm sorry, I can't say that with the inflection that Brad Gilmore does, but I mean, no one could be the boat. So
he invented it. It's his thing.
Real quick at the top of this,
I was like ready, and I was like, all right, energy, and no, he's just gonna say fine young tender. Okay.
Real quick, right off the bat. How do you feel about that? That he does that?
I mean, the first time I ever heard it, I was like, wait, what? But I love it now, man. I mean, I love Brad and I love Frank and the rundown and stuff. So the fact that, that is, when they play that song, because I listen to that show a lot. So when they play the song, it's very, very funny now. So I love a good joke that lasts an incredibly long time. And I think that that's one of those ones that just keeps getting funnier.
Yeah. Anything that sticks like that,
it keeps snowballing.
Yeah, I remember the first time he said that, I was like, "What? Why do I want noodles all of a sudden?" But yeah, it seems like it sticks. So, yeah. Anyways, like I was saying, you're an actor. You've been in a lot of. They're stating a fact. You're an actor. You've been in quite a bit of projects so far. Again, mentioning Color Out of Space, which was one of my favorite movies this year so far. I love a good body horror movie, which this one definitely is.
Oh yeah.
I believe
I haven't seen it, but
it was definitely really good. The other thing that was really cool about it, you get to play Nicolas Cage's son.
Yeah.
How is that putting that on your resume? Like, oh, that's Nick Cage's son.
It was awesome. I mean, he's definitely one of those iconic actors. It's a fun little bucket list thing to get to have worked with him. And he was such a cool guy in real life. Like, he was definitely really great to work with. And he's a big movie fan too, actually. He's always referencing different films and even some of the choices he's making and different things. So that was kind of fun to be around too, because there were a few moments where everyone's just chilling, we're talking movies, and it was fun, man.
And then you're over here like, hey Nick, you wanna jump into the movie showdown?
You probably get at the Francis Ford Coppola place.
I'm gonna need one of those JTEs. I don't know if my Nicolas Cage impression is good at all.
That was awful. Ben Bateman's so much better at it than
you. Yeah. Well, I mean, I know Lucas Black, so anyways.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so I know you've been on C2A's Chill to Action. What was your introduction to being on the to the Schmoedown to begin with, real quick?
Oh yeah. So the way it kind of started was, I've always been a big movie fan and love collecting information about movies and stuff like that. And it's actually my agent for acting that has been my agent for years. And I was just said something to him once. Literally, it was as like a joke to be funny. I was like, you remember, I was like, man, if Who Wants to Be a Millionaire brought back Movie Week, because I remember as a kid they did Movie Week once. I was like, man, I wish they'd bring that back so I could make a little money. Like, it was just a joke. But like, I could definitely make it to like, you know, the 25 grand level or like whatever it was. Like I could make some money on that show. And he apparently has known Christian for years. And he was like, you know, man, you should get on the Schmoedown. You should, I'll get you in touch. I'll let my buddy know about you. And then if you're into it, you should, you know, pursue it. And so, you know, I checked it out, really thought it was awesome, kind of became I guess kind of like an instant fan, and yeah, reached out to Christian, and it took a little while to actually get a match, but they were super welcoming to be like, hey, come to the studio and watch whenever you want and hang out. And so, yeah, for the better part of like 2018, I went to the studio a lot to watch different matches. And if I was free on a Friday, I pretty much went every time I was free because I just loved watching the game and hanging out. And I didn't even know many people at first. I just went and mainly watched, and then, you know, slowly get to know everyone. And then once you start competing, you really get to know everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, studio matches. I can't wait for those to start again.
I know it's weird because especially like it became such a part of my routine, you know, going. So especially last year, because I was fortunate enough to get far enough in the teams tournament and a little bit in the singles. Like it was like I was there a lot, you know, so it became a lot of the routine. And yeah, it's sad. As so many things, just gotta wait for it to come back.
How in your opinion, how is it feeding off of the crowd that's there when you're answering questions? Of course, the little audience that's like off to the side while filming.
Yeah.
How does it feel feeding off of that compared to now in the virtual? Sorry, I'm full of incomplete sentences tonight. So
it's different. I mean, it's cool. I feel like now I definitely they're all different. The studio does feel, the audience does feel a little bit bigger than you think it would, you know, as you guys know from, like, you know, it's not that many people, but like it still feels like there's a lot of people watching, and they do a good job. The reactions are you feel it, like you miss something, you hear it, you get something, you hear it. So yeah, it's a different vibe here in the online format. I think for me, I have found for whatever reason, like the pressure of competing has not gotten better or worse depending on it, if that makes any sense. Like for me, if anything, it's just the only thing is it's just there's a little bit less of fun around it, because usually, you know, if I wake up and I have a Schmoedown match that day, it means I'm going to the studio, I'm going to see everybody, I'm going to be there, I'm going to get to see 4 or 5 other matches that I've been waiting to see what's going to happen. Whereas this, it's like you wake up and you're like, well, it's just me and my opponent, and you know,
my couch.
Yeah, it's a little bit that part of it is different and not as fun, but
hopefully Molly.
Yeah,
right.
Talking about the dog.
Yeah. No.
Sorry, we're in Texas. We don't know exactly what's legal over there in California, so who knows? Molly the dog. Yes, Molly the dog is legal.
No weed.
Anyways, getting into this match, you're taking on Marc Andreyko. Marc Andreyko's quite a veteran, very well known for XX5XX, which I still want that shirt actually, because I just think it looks cool with like no one knowing what it means unless you know the Schmoedown. Oh, no. So I want to be walking through our grocery store and someone just like, oh, Marc Andreyko, and be like, yeah, and like that will start the conversation.
That's like years ago. I had a Los Pollos Hermanos shirt from Breaking Bad, and it was like I got it like, and it's like, you know, it was, there's no Breaking Bad on it. It's just the logo for that chicken company. So you really got to know, you know.
How did that feel being able like? How did you feel going into that match that you're facing down the android?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of different feelings. It's funny, the match against Alonso was so tough, you know, and it's so close to going out anyway. Even though I played well, like, I mean, really, he had me if he got a 5 that he knows. And as we saw, he knew his 5 in the teams match when they played final exam. So it's like, you know, he could have easily known the 5. So in some ways, I was just kind of thankful to get the opportunity to keep playing. So I was excited, you know, just that I had made it through at least one round of the tournament. But also I was pretty nervous because he's such a tough competitor, and I knew that it was going to take a lot to beat him, or luck or strategy paying off. It was not going to, something was going to have to happen for me to win. It wasn't like he was just going to give it to me. So I was definitely nervous, but I was excited because as much as, you know, I have 4 wins now going into this match, And, they're all against really, really tough opponents, but no like former champions or people like Marc, So it was an opportunity, and you'll see it in the interview at the beginning, it's like it's a really great opportunity to beat somebody who's really, really great and get a great notch in my belt. But also there's a little bit of pressure off because it's not like no one's going to give you a bad time for losing to Marc Andreyko,
No, not at all. Jeez. So I know us as like reactors going into this, I know from watching both yours and Marc's performance, especially more recently, because that's what we have to go based off of. I know typically we would try to like who we think would win this match. Mm-hmm. This is round 2. I don't think we actually got pinpointing round 2 who we think would win these.
No, but I think if we want to hold on for just a second, if you'll notice the shirt I'm wearing.
Oh yeah, okay.
So it's at least obvious as to who I'm going for here.
And if you notice that I'm not wearing my signature bowling shirts, it's because I ran home. I'm really hot, and I don't want to wear that thing. And I'm still waiting for Nike to pay me. Anyways, so yeah, I believe, like, not just because Brendan Meyer's on this show, definitely not placating the guest. We've done it before where we've had a guest be like, "Yeah, I don't think you're going to win this one." I'm like, well, that's awkward.
Yeah, I think this one you got to take a note. Like, you guys have been on a roll lately, both you and Bibiani. So there's a lot of steam coming off of that. I think for you going into this match, which is kind of why. I feel like I'm more in your corner on this one than Andreyko. How long has it been since Andreyko had his last match? I know it was like first round in the tournament, but yeah, some really good things here. Yeah,
and talking about just like the behind the scenes thing, definitely this was filmed not long ago, so it was definitely after the teams matches we went through. So yeah, I did have a little bit of that going into this match because I think when I played Alonso, we hadn't taped at all. Like we hadn't even gone and done the one against Final Exam. I don't think we even knew if we were actually, funnily enough, I think it's the day before. It was like the day before I think finally like Deep 13 played Final Exam. So we still had no idea. That was a while ago. So definitely it was kind of nice going to this match knowing that even if it didn't go my way, like I still got the title shot against Corruption coming up. So that was
that's gonna be good.
You get to stretch out the muscles before going into round 2.
Well, still want to go as far as I can in the singles tournament. I'm certainly not easing off the gas, but yeah, it definitely is nice to have that a little bit.
For sure.
All right, so I know we want to jump into the Smash, but before we do, everyone who is watching, thank you for watching us. Please make sure you are subscribed to this channel. All the YouTube things that you hear every other YouTuber say, make sure you do those as well. I want to call out the chat real quick. We do have like Jake Iacovetta saying we're working on it. Yeah, slight delay. Sorry.
I'm right here. Wait to bring up my comment.
I know. Errolowl, make sure you have your own power plant handy. We should be fine. I'm not aware of any rolling blackouts this time. The replay we did with Vinny had we had 2 blackouts in the middle of doing this. So it was a lot of fun though. Vinny played it like perfectly. We went back and watched like what Vinny did when the blackout went. It was so great. That was great content right there.
So he just kept it going. That's awesome.
Camshaft, so fine, so young, so tender.
No Cam, no.
Give me some Roni, brother.
Of course.
That's no kid. That's a man, baby. I feel a little weird the fact that you said man and then followed it up with the word baby. That doesn't fit real well.
Comments on fire tonight.
Exactly. If y'all are watching, let us know that you're here. Comment in the chat. Let us know who you are. Say hi. We want to know you. We want to thank you for being on here. So let us know what's going on. Y'all feel free to comment all y'all want in the chat. Please keep in mind, though, my brother and myself have not seen this match today. Obviously, I just got home from work, so I have not seen this match. Please do not spoil the match in the comments because we can see them. Feel free to play along if you want, though. Also, if you have any questions, anything you want to say, you can send those questions in via Streamlabs up there above my brother, streamlabs.com/cinefanatics. If you want to submit questions, there is also super chat, so send questions that way as well. Also, make sure you jump on our Patreon because we're not doing anything on there, but we will this weekend. So come back, hop on the Patreon, let us know what you're doing. Those of y'all that are patrons already, you get that joke. So come back, hop on the Patreon, join the tier that's right for you, because who knows. Anyways, and real quick, going back to the spoilers, if you want to spoil this match in the chat, again, streamlabs.com/cinefanatics. Feel free to spoil all you want as long as there's some numbers followed with that spoiler. We are okay with that. Let's jump into this match because Brendan doesn't want to sit here and hear us hawk for money. He wants to see how we play and what we think of his match.
All right.
You understand I work like a customer service job, so I have to be like on this kind of fire all day long.
Was that? Did I just do a quick plug for POV? Yeah, there you go. Certain point of view. There you go, guys. Check out that video also. Apparently, it's next after ours.
There you go. Welcome back to the movie trivia Schmoedown.
What is it from?
The singles tournament. It keeps on moving. Round number 2. I am Christian Harloff, joined as always by Mark Baby Carrots Ellis. Mark, what?
It's one of those I feel like I'm going to feel stupid.
You look. This is a bit of old school when you get the former team's champion. Mark the
He's still just like a newsie.
Legend in the game. Guy who's been playing for a while. And one of the new
I feel stupid.
Run, a rookie of the year type
I feel so stupid.
Where he was nominated for that very award. He won the team's tournament. That's the kid, Brendan Meyer. So this is a
Rodney Dangerfield from Caddyshack.
Yeah, you go back to last season when we knew Marc Andreyko from so many great moments in Schmoedown history, so much magic that he brought.
I bet they're going to talk about XX5XX.
He cleared it in the first free throw.
There you go.
What a moment that was.
As you were talking.
Legend told north of the wall of a child that would bring balance to the movie trivia Schmoedown. Could Brendan, the kid Meyer, be that human being?
Yeah.
Well, he's going to take one step closer towards that possibility here today. But in order to get through the Android, Christian, he's going to have to navigate.
Maybe I shouldn't play on the Schmoedown.
Movie trivia toughness, to which Marc Andreyko.
No, don't say that.
I won't say that.
No, this is a good test for the both of them because Marc
Andreyko
has been to war with
whoever y'all are.
The league. He's beaten some of the best. He's been beaten by some of the best. He's won championships from some of the best.
Who started in Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift?
With everyone.
Oh, God, really did?
He's done that. The kid is really new, but last season, obviously, he won the teams tournament, and he also right off the bat, you and Bibiani are a fantastic team. I love Bibiani and Whitney. I thought critically acclaimed was a great team. He wasn't even supposed to be in that match.
You and Bibiani paired together though is a good match.
Very close. Then you talk about what he's done so far.
It's amazing now to think about
final exam. They annihilated who's the boss, and now they've got a team's championship shot in a month from now.
A year and a half now since we were really brought together.
And I
love
our next big throwdown.
So
the kid he's in big game mode right now.
Yeah, he's prepped. He's ready to go. And don't let that nice kid neighbor next door, Eddie Haskell, vibe fool you. He
pretty much
has locked in a competitor once he gets.
They asked about school. They asked about in round 1 this year.
Why we call
I think so. I think that was one Dangerfield. There was a question this year for sure.
He rarely, if ever.
Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah,
I can't remember what match it was.
I'm curious. So many. We also have a great story on how we got here. Here we go.
And Ben Bateman, you've inspired me to play singles again. I'm getting that belt.
That's not relevant anymore. I love Ben. I do.
Players we have in this tournament. It's all about staying calm.
The kid.
Oh my God!
Who am I?
Thought I lost. I wanted to end that way. I
reached over 90 movies. Here, you know what? Kid, I love you to death, but I got a new chip set.
The thing about the kid is sometimes he's zen, sometimes he's energetic.
First round was tough. Alonzo played incredible. It was a really, really tough match. And even though I needed some luck to get through round 1, I feel ready to take on another incredible opponent. And That's what I'm taking on.
It's the kid's match to lose, I think. I think he's
for sure. It's your match to lose, Draco. There's no way. He's a kid. He gets so shook. Honey, you're mad green. How are you expecting to win a trivia match against Marc Andreyko, a veteran of this game, one of the greatest of all time? Why don't you go mouth breathe somewhere else? Because
Roxy.
It's A, really annoying, and B, you're
That's why I got the
How you gonna train the kid? That's what you do. Is you run hills. And sometimes you're going up.
They wore a different headset than that.
You're going down. You gotta fluctuate that energy.
Look, we played these guys in the second round of the team's tournament last year, the Odd Couple, and that was another very, very close match. I'm expecting nothing different. I'm more prepared than I've ever been to go on a little run in singles here, and I'm hoping that it continues.
I couldn't be more excited to play him because he is somebody I love to mess with. That kid, you get in his head and he can't hang. He just can't.
Is it Zen kid? Is it Mana kid? Doesn't matter. It's his win. Go Mercs.
All right.
You know, Mark, you know what's also very interesting about that when you see it is that both
Gotta love the promos.
managers,
Yeah, man. Yeah, no.
Especially when it is a promo for a match that involves someone from the Quirky Mercs, because most of the time
in the tournament, the Odd
I
Couple,
get coy is
who's the boss,
reminding me that I need to work out harder.
Points record in order to do it, and Roxy and the Rockstars.
I want to get like that good. Like I used to go running all the time. I want that runner's high again. That was so much fun.
Yeah, man.
Get that sweating.
Like you saying, you're just running home from work, right?
Yeah. I didn't literally run. I just drove really fast.
Let me tell you something real quick. Going back into that, Roxy's really trying to make a play for heel of the year right now. Because she's going in on Brendan Meyer. Why would you do that?
Everybody, let's get on.
That's not how you get heel of the year. That's how you get some word I can't say because we're a family-friendly channel of the year. I don't know what word that is.
Good at it, though. I remember when we played the Odd Couple in studio. She definitely, in a fun way, was definitely we were waiting to go backstage, waiting to come out, and she definitely was making little fun comments, trying to throw me off a little bit. And it didn't really work, in that we didn't play badly, but it definitely is an extra thing you have to contend with, like when managers are willing to do that. So it definitely makes the job a little harder.
Andrew, minus the big match.
Sure.
Jared.
Yeah, I laugh in the face of being Christian, so I'm not really fazed by everybody who thinks that this isn't really a run.
Is that a giant weed bush behind her?
The second half, that is when we really shine. So, I can never.
I mean, I don't want to say it's on brand for Roxy, but
I have to say
it might be a little bit.
So, those of y'all who know me, I love to cook, and of course, I'm a fan of cooking YouTube channels. There's Sam, the cooking guy from San Jose. He cooks outdoors. His primary cooking place is an outdoor cooking patio, gorgeous, and he has a weed plant that's back behind him.
You've had quite a run recently with the Quirky Mercs. So how do you keep that momentum going against such a
funny because this is a little rematch of Smith versus Jericho with the managers here.
Oh yeah,
it is. Yeah.
That's when we show. That's when we.
And then it had already happened when we did this. Yeah, it was kind of fun. They got to tangle again. That's what we're seeing. It's cool how much we're getting to see the managers.
We're going to see the end of a run today.
Yeah, I love how much the managers are having a part this season, just because they've got such dynamic personalities between all of them also, and they all have so much to add on camera.
Yeah, and it's not like, it's been said a million times, but it's not for show or anything like that. These, Cole and I are in constant communication about different stuff, whether it's strategy, whether it's just talk about the matches, whether it's just coordinating promos, what fun stuff we're going to do. And, I just know the factions really are working together.
How about yourself?
The winner gets to go
within the people in the factions and with the manager. It's a big group text with all the people from Quirky Mercs, and I assume it's the same for everyone else.
Right? Yeah, I know. I remember hearing Perry on backstage a couple backstages ago or so, was she was talking about how like supportive the entire Quirky Mercs is.
Sure.
By the way, Brendan, if you have any ideas of how to get a hold of Perry, we're having a Dickens of a time trying to reach her for her match.
Oh, I mean, I got her in the group chat, so I
can you tell her to reach out?
So
typically, I would be the first to call that like a faux pas, but at this point,
you want to get her next round, right?
I'm gonna go this route, delirious and hilarious.
I claim insanity.
a little bit.
The T-shirt that I'm wearing is actually Stetler, which is where my grandparents live. So that's the shirt.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I try to put a little Canadian flavor into the shirts at times.
Has working with Bibiani and the Mercs helped you?
Wear that Hockey Night in Canada shirt. I just want to mention that.
Your knowledge of the game.
But the match I got KO'd by Bateman, so I sort of feel like it's bad luck.
Playing the game a lot and being in these.
I'm not really sure I can wear it anymore. I don't want to. I didn't wear that thing again.
I didn't think about it. That's why you're such like a good fit for Quirky Mercs, because guess who's from Canada also?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. In the first Deadpool, that whole freeway fight scene that's like a big part of everything. One of my best buddies in Vancouver used to live like in the houses right in the background, and like I stay with them sometimes. So it's weird actually watching the movie because I've literally like walked under that branch a million times and tripping over it a million times.
Chris, you might have to turn Brendan down. I can't hear Brendan.
Oh. Now, when it does come to you, you are a Canadian, and so whenever I get to interact with one live, I like to ask.
That's one thing I like about it. Every single time you do a show, everyone's like, "Oh, he's Canadian."
How do you do that?
I mean, because at the end of the day, it's like, I do have respect for everybody that I play, and so for me,
I do also want to point out. Garth was saying, side note, friend who loves horror, doesn't watch the Schmoedown at all, was raving about Color Out of Space the other day. He just saw it.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Yeah.
Again, if you like body horror, especially like if you're a fan of like say Cronenberg, this is right up the same alley. Like if you would have told me Cronenberg did this, I probably would have believed you.
Yeah, definitely has some of that.
And when you see a guy like Andreyko, who seems to be more locked in now than he has ever been, is that something that, as a competitor,
thank you, Andres, for being here.
Hey, what's up? Hello.
It also gives you more of that challenge.
Hello.
What's your overall thoughts on Andreyko as a player?
I mean, I think he's
I got a sighting from the ghost.
All you have to do to look at Andreyko, just look at some of the people that he's beaten. You know, he's beaten these former singles champions like Ben Bateman, like Ethan Irwin, and he went to the wire against
Sam the
Viviani.
cookie guy.
So for me, though, that kind of
no, not Wednesday. Yeah,
because I know that barring me playing.
There you go. And this is the one I was trying to click on actually.
Players, and it might just not be my day, but I believe I can.
So make sure you give Coy a happy birthday by winning this match, Brendan.
All right.
Even though this is already filmed and aired earlier today.
We play a great player like Marc. It takes
no pressure.
All right, we're gonna put you in the waiting room here. Thank you, Brendan. We'll see you in just a bit. And his opponent.
I'm gonna keep popping that up.
Representing the Rock Stars with a record of 7 wins, 6 defeats, and 1 knockout. He is the former Movie Trivia Schmoedown Team Champion of the World, the Android.
So yeah, the Rock Stars have a good theme.
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
Look at
that. He's wearing an
Alpha Flight shirt to make it worse. Oh my god.
Against Ashley was that I remember very clearly at the end of the 2018 tournament, you said, after the tournament, you said, I'm done with singles. No more with singles, but I do want to play in teams, and I'm still going to be around, but I'm done with singles for good. And then last season,
that's just wrong.
I'll give this another run. And it was back to watching matches, and you seem like there's a new energy about you when it comes to singles. Why is that?
After 2018, I played so many matches and was up against so many titans in a row that it was really I wasn't digging ditches for a living, but I was exhausted. I was bone tired. And then, I saw all the smack talk that was happening at the.
So I like how we talked pretty much the entire time Brendan was talking, and now we're silent.
Right.
So I know, like, during this, you're sitting down below. You see Marc Andreyko pop up. Like, how do you feel the fact that he's doing like this Blame Canada and the Alpha Flight shirt? If you're familiar with Alpha Flight.
Not super familiar with Alpha Flight.
So Alpha Flight is it's a mutant team like X-Men. They work for the Canadian government.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
That's funny. You didn't mention that on the day. That's probably not. I'm sure he's doing that on purpose. That's funny.
He's definitely doing that on purpose. But they've had like a lot of run-ins with Wolverine, who of course is also Canadian.
Oh, yeah, I do know that.
Andreyko, ladies and gentlemen, the android is here. We're going
to
moments. Bring back Brennan. Now here is
cool,
Mark, and they have entered the virtual arena.
Here we go. I know it's coming back to me. Like I said, it's not too long ago actually. I think it was only last week actually.
Enrolled in virtual classes. Make sure you
very fresh, but I'm still coming back to me.
45 minutes to an hour. Round number 1 is going to feature 8 questions from 8 different corners.
Are you the type that you're actually really cool with being able to watch yourself on screen, or?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I can. It's all good. It's different because I mean, I am me here. This is me literally being authentic. Whereas a lot of the time, the whole thing is watching myself.
What about for?
I tried to keep the heavy breathing to a minimum in this one. It's somewhat. I don't have the mic right up close to my face.
What about for like full like movie? Like you go to movie premieres or something. You're essentially sitting in the audience watching yourself. I didn't we went to South by last year.
Yeah, cool.
And I didn't realize how many of the actors are in the are actually sitting there throughout the whole premiere watching themselves.
A lot of the time you do, yeah. Most of the time, first time especially. If it's the first time the film's been at any festival, you would.
Round number 1.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, I was just.
We're done talking now.
No,
you can play it.
I'm saying the first time you film premieres, usually you're all there.
Sawyer, the president of the United States, alongside Channing Tatum's John Cale, in what film?
Get the right one.
So I'm trying to think of.
Get the right one.
My daughter took one bite of that vegetable and threw up all over the place. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You have 2 possibilities here.
And Marc Andreyko.
White House Down?
Yes, Brennan.
And I went with the wrong one.
I'm playing along with you guys now, so it's 1-1 between Chris and I.
Oh, wait, why did I give myself a point on my whiteboard?
Brendan is playing.
Your question, gentlemen. You'll find the characters of Billy Ray Valentine, a street beggar and con man, in what 1983 comedy?
Yep.
So you got a favorite Boston movie?
Love this movie.
It's tough to playing along because it happens to me too when I'm watching other matches. It's like you don't get a JTE unless they get one,
Yeah.
No.
All right, and
or we've watched where
and Mark.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Trading Places.
I'm so mad because I was thinking that I should have just written it down.
We've done these where we're playing along and one of us would get a perfect round, but none of the 2 competitors were. So I was like, I want my bonus point.
Which actress played legendary screen star Marilyn Monroe in the biopic My Week with Marilyn?
Yes.
Gives me a chance to do this. You ready?
Yeah.
And it seems to me your life like a
candle in the wind. Yep.
Right. Sometimes I write so fast I have to go back at the end and make sure that everything.
Oh no, I'm wrong.
Legible.
I'm wrong.
You want to make sure you didn't Jane Fonda your board.
Yeah.
Brennan.
Michelle Williams.
I literally thought I heard the last time I said Renee Zellweger, but yeah, it's
Michelle Williams.
Category.
They just released the Funko Pop of her in that pose from the over the grate.
Plays the role of
I want that Funko.
Framed for the murder of Sydney's mother, Maureen. Franchise.
Yes. What's his name?
I don't see a lot of Maureens happening anymore. You know.
You don't know that.
Oh, I see his face. What's his name?
I don't think so. Can't find him at Redskins reruns. 5.
Oh,
4, 3.
Oh, I'm gonna kick myself for this. Sabretooth and the Wolverine.
Yeah.
X-Men Origins.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes.
Dang it.
You got
I hate that.
Batting 1,000 right now over here.
When you see the face, but you can't pull the name under the pressure. That's the kicker on this game.
Brad Pitt playing astronaut.
Yep.
He voyages across the solar system to uncover the truth about his missing father.
About his father. Yeah. And then you get something like this where all they have to say is like 2019 film with Brad Pitt, astronaut, and you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I really like this movie. Actually, I was a fan of it.
I've not seen this yet.
See it in IMAX way back when we could.
Is this First Man, right?
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh, it's not First Man. Oh dang! Well, I guess it's got to be Ad Asher.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, you sneaky punk! You
trickster! You a trickster!
Your next question's in the world of comedies. What classic comic actor starred in the original 1963 version of The Nutty Professor?
Such a great battle so far.
Yeah, they're focused. I mean, they really want.
I think we have this one.
5.
I think so too.
4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. Brendan.
Jerry Lewis.
Yes, and Mark.
An awful human being, Jerry Lewis.
Oh, God.
I like that.
All right, here we go. This is the next question. Horror/thriller. The characters of Kevin Wendell Crumb.
What's tough when you get to 6 in a round, you know what I mean? Because you're just like, nah, this is probably when you start thinking about the perfect round, you know? It's like you don't really think about it that much until you get to like it's 7 and 8 when you're like, especially when you know if you know 7, it's like, but even once you get 6, it's like you're like
Hammer 5, 4, 3, 2.
Brother, did you read the whole question?
Please, and Marc
Yes.
Andreyko.
Okay.
Glass.
Yes, and the kid.
Glass.
And we have
Glass. Now, funny that you asked that because at first I saw Kevin Wendell Crumb and I was about to go Split.
I was about
then,
to like too. Actually, if you go back and see that I like am like think I know it, then I have to hear the David Dunn, and you got to go.
And then as my eyes are leaving my computer screen right here, I remember seeing David Dunn. I was like, "What?"
Yeah, that's right.
Oh no!
A human boy raised by trash collecting trolls.
Oh shoot!
Human boy raised by.
I am not that good at Leica films.
Yeah, got it. Wow.
Score between you guys right now.
4, 3, 2.
I'm about to have 5 points.
For the perfect
Yeah,
round,
I can only think of one, and it's not it.
and
Oh, Box Trolls. Okay.
The box trolls.
Mark tried to look fake out there.
Dang, both of y'all got a perfect round. Nice.
This is for both you guys. So, same thing.
All
Write it, reveal it, same way we have been for the previous 8. Here it is.
Shut up, Ryan.
Anya Taylor-Joy plays the title character in what
Emma.
2020 period piece
Yeah.
based on a famous
Emma, which was also the basis for Clueless, which was one of my favorite movies growing up in the 90s.
There you go. And yeah, this has got to be one of the first 2020 movies they've asked about as well.
believe it. I like that movie. I
They did the hunt on the Kevin Smith Jericho.
You're right.
Emma.
Yes, and Brendan.
Emma.
Look at this.
But yeah,
match. It
maybe
is
there's been a mention of Invisible Man.
9-9.
Yeah.
But
Power.
They said who directed Insidious 3 and
The Invisible
Man.
Yeah.
Lee Whannell.
Oh yeah, that was just maybe a neural match. It is right.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Gets a spin at the wheel. Once you settle on a category, you're going to hear 4.
So how does it feel being tied with Marc Andreyko after round 1?
Well, I mean, I didn't expect, when you're playing these types of players, you don't, especially with round 1, you can't really expect them to miss more than maybe 1. So, yeah, definitely. It's tough because, I like to go second a lot of the time strategically. So for me, I like to get, same with Shazam, it's like, it's nice to get the lead because you kind of get to dictate that. With Marc, because he's the higher ranked opponent, and not only just by a little bit, but he is the higher ranked opponent, he now has the honors to choose. So yeah, that's the only downside, is you're like, oh, it's too bad that now, even though I didn't technically do anything wrong, because Marc also did nothing wrong, he kind of has that little advantage, but some players don't care as much about that.
And one of the things we've noticed, especially lately, that it has come across more where round 1 is really starting to feel more like your warm-up match. It's where you're sitting there like, oh, I'm answering movie trivia questions. That's what I'm doing for the next 45 minutes.
It's tough though, because you never know. Because I, in this match and against Alonso went perfect, and then in the 2 teams matches, I went 7-6 and missed questions kind of early on. So you just never know. It all depends. What you want to hope is that if there's something difficult, or if the round overall starts getting a little deeper, that you can miss, that you'll both miss. I think that's the thing. That's where things really get tricky in round 1, where you maybe get something that's outside of your realm, but then they have it, right? That's when it starts to get a little lopsided. But sometimes they're just tough round 1s where both competitors are going to miss at least one. I just always, for me in round 1, it's, oh, well.
Ryan, that's a spoiler. Just kidding. That's a spoiler that reveals really nothing to us.
A lot of people, I think Ethan Irwin also kind of always goes first, and he's someone who often has that advantage because he's so good. And he chooses.
I know, my opinion of it is, I believe it needs to be on a case by case, match by match basis. That I don't feel like you could go in and just every single time, I'm always going to go first if I have the choice. I'm always going to go second if I can. No, I feel like there's some cases, depending on the point margin, how you feel, you personally, who's playing the match, how you feel the other person is doing. Could you potentially rattle them a little bit more by making them first or second? Yeah. So I think a lot of those come down right in the middle of the game, much like, say, football, which, again, I do know sports. They make play changes based on lineups and how everything is. They could call audibles at a moment's notice. Same kind of thing. I'm so giving away the fact I know football. that you could make a change like that just based off of how that performance was in round 1. Problem is both of y'all hit a perfect round. So moving on to round 2.
I always like to keep. The funny thing though is one of the things reason why I always like to lock in things and not change a bunch of times in the moment is just so I don't second guess it later. So it's the same with picking the same numbers and stuff like that. It's if you pick the same numbers and kind of follow the same strategy, then if you are you know what, usually I do this, but I'm going to do this, and it burns you, that eats you. Why didn't I just do what I always do? So I sometimes it's more for that it's mentally, it's I'd rather almost stick to a script. You know what I mean? So that
I wonder,
time you deviate, if it burns you, that'll bug you forever.
There's also an opportunity, if you do the same thing over and over again, that somebody could inevitably use that against you. Say when it comes time to pick your numbers, they end up picking all your numbers, and now you're mentally just thrown off completely.
That's true.
I love when people put things in terms I can understand.
Oh, he spoke X-Men. I know that.
I know X-Men.
No penalty for missing a question. However, stealing, yep, it's available in round number 2. So if you're not sure of the answer, ask us multiple choice. We'll give you 4 options, one of which we promise is the correct answer. At that point, the value of the question goes down to 1. So, Christian, not only do we have a stellar round number 1.
I like the idea of like if I'm in the lead, going second on the wheel spin, just because I think it's a lot more relaxing on the mind to know where you have to catch up than
That's
to.
why I like it. Is I just like having the information because sometimes players have an amazing day and they're sitting on 17 points, and then other times they just get something that they're a little bit shaky on, or maybe they get
amazing job, just so you know, killing it. And don't worry, it's almost
changes the
bedtime,
whole
so we can
dynamic
tuck her out real soon.
what's
Don't
going
worry
on.
about that.
Yeah.
He needs a snack and a drink.
Yeah, he does. I know. What are you thinking for this? How you feeling?
I think first.
I completely agree. I'm in.
She is way too relaxed on this.
Ready to go. Take your time. Remember your
I mean-
GPs, all of that, but we'll talk in a second.
No, don't put your leg down. Put it down.
And
Put it-
here is the wheel. You got
Nobody wants that.
Julia Roberts? Sure, why not?
Nobody asked for it. Nobody wants it.
Wow, Christian.
Mel Brooks.
Are you gonna be good?
I'll be fine.
Action adventure,
Okay.
Will Smith. Oscars. Remakes and reboots. 80s.
horror.
Spinner's choice. And movie release dates. All right, so let's get that.
In the
spin.
realm of horror, who played Nicolas Cage's son?
Oh my gosh.
That's one of the things I think is like is fascinating. There of the couple of Schmoedown players who are actors who are in like popular movies that could be asked about. How much fun would that be if it just so happens by luck of the draw?
They did do that Sam Levine question.
They did that to Sam Levine, like who played Private Hirschberg, and they're like, I don't know, and like, oh come on.
You think there's an opportunity that it ever happens that you get the question, you could just go.
All right, so we're gonna draw.
Ooh, that's my answer.
Mark
Me.
and Roxy.
Yeah.
Bring back Kid and
I did.
Coy. You got 60 seconds to decide what you want to give them, kids, starting now.
Yeah, I don't think Roke is ever living down that Private Hirschberg thing.
About film, I kind of think movie release dates. See how he does with that.
I think that
Movie release dates.
That's what we went with here with the opponent's choice was movie release dates. You know, I think when you play these players, it's one of those things where I always feel like these players like Marc Andreyko, who are so well-rounded, a lot of the time, if there's something like movie release dates on the wheel, it's like they're not answering movie trivia questions anymore. They're answering something else, right? It's like like scores and soundtracks or any of these other things. It just changes the dynamic of the question. So, you know, it's worth it, right?
Bring back Mark.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a good strategy for sure. Especially if you feel confident yourself within the movie release dates as well, then it's
yeah. And I've always felt really quite good about it. I mean, it's very broad though, right? So like, you know, every release date known to man, but I feel like I do pretty well, especially on the kind of stuff they ask.
No Country for Old Men, 2014.
I was gonna say 2007.
Oh, 2007. That was okay. So, in all honesty, 2007 was my instant thing. I was like, it wasn't that long ago. Okay, apparently it is. Yeah, 2007.
No Country for Old Men released was
it's
2005.
That's when I graduated high school, so it was kind of a decent length of time ago.
Well, that would make sense.
For me, that's helpful once we get kind of post 2000. It's a lot easier for me to sort of just go to where I was in my life, where I saw it. It's helpful.
Directed the monster film
2014.
2014, yeah.
In what year?
See, I was answering the next question ahead of time. That's how good of a competitor I am. I'm answering questions that haven't even been asked yet.
You got it.
Okay.
Brendan Meyer, I want to see you do that.
Movie release dates is a strength here.
See, 2014.
Honestly,
I like movie release dates because you can. It's easy.
Hush, I want to talk. It's low key, probably one of the easiest ones to 2016. It's one of the easiest ones to study.
Multiple choice.
Sorry,
come on.
That's La La Land. I had to interrupt what I was saying.
Yeah, I was like, you're sitting there talking. I see a La La Land question pop up.
Study though, in terms of like, it's hard to go from 0 to 100 on it because I do think like if you're just studying dates with no context, it is tough. Like I feel like it's one of those things where you sort of have to.
What year?
87.
I'm going to go for it and say 1987.
It's incorrect.
Oh.
The question is.
This is actually, I'll say, this was one that I know through study actually, and not.
correct for 2 more points.
85.
What is it?
Big
85?
85.
God, I thought it was later. I thought it was later in the 80s than that.
That's weird. That's one of those
Weird science.
84.
Here to talk to Brendan before your first spin starting now.
I think he's up by 3, right? Because they were tied.
No, well, Mark got 2 with multiple choice.
Oh, got it. Yep. So sorry. Yeah, you're
3. He got 2.
so, dude. We that's what we counted.
So,
on.
but you're up by 1 going into your spin.
Right.
Fantastic place to be.
Yeah, no, it's a great place to be. And like I said, this is one of those things where it's always a gamble, right? Because you let the other person go first, they get 8 for 8. All of a sudden, you're playing a little tight, you know. But in situations like this, it's great because now I have the option. I don't have to. If there's something on the wheel I really don't want, I can avoid it. Well, you'll see here what happens with the first.
And I forgot how to map.
In
Julia Roberts.
Let's 60 seconds.
Yeah.
You really impressed me with Hepburn, but I know that's a very different kind of category. Your face just now.
Oh yeah, yeah. Your knowledge of Hepburn. What the?
Hepburn's one of those ones that not necessarily who study, but like I just seen a lot of her movies sort of more recently. And unfortunately, I hadn't studied it, so that's why I got super unlucky in some ways because How to Steal a Million is one of the ones that I've never seen. But yeah, that was too bad because definitely with like the one Janine had on Friday, I would have done better in that than I did in the one I had, and so I definitely think Hotburn was the right choice. Unfortunately, I think I would do even better in it maybe if I got it again. Just depends. It's been spun a couple of times now, so it depends how deep.
So, okay, so you kept Julia.
If you want to pause, I can just explain it for a second since we were talking.
Yeah.
But I decided to keep it mainly because it's been around for a while, so I have spent time studying it in the past, and I just kind of felt like there wasn't really anything on the wheel that I was like terrified of, but there wasn't really anything that like I felt way better in than Julia Roberts, other than like, Oscars was on there and maybe like 1 or 2 other things. So I just decided to keep it because when you're up by 1, I talk about, I maybe talk about there. I try so much of the Schmoedown is getting ahead by 6. I mean, obviously, as we saw in the, match the other day, that's not always the case, but usually that's where you want to be. I mean, if you can get any higher than that, it's great. But the whole momentum and the whole energy of the match changes as soon as you get to 6. So
yeah.
Looking at Julia, I was like, I only got to get 5 out of 8. And I felt pretty good about my way to multiple choice my way through it. And it's not as broad, right? Like it's easier to say I feel good about Julia Roberts than it is about a genre or a decade, because it's easy for them to come up with the magic amount of questions that you don't know, right?
Right. I like that too. I like the whole be ahead by 6 because that's the whole strategy. There is obviously forcing your opponent to have to answer all 3 of their round 3 questions, and there's obviously the likelihood of being able to answer 5 when it's such a hard. It's typically harder of the 3 for sure.
Absolutely.
It usually does. It's going to fall in your court.
Yeah, and it's also the fact that if they run it, which a lot of great players do, you only have to get the 2 and the 3, which is a much easier place to be in than because even if it's 5, you have to get the 5 to win. Right. So that's why I try to keep that number in my head as much as possible while playing. And now you don't always have the opportunity to go for it, but in this case, it was possible.
Yeah. 6 is a good number to stay within, but 10 is like, blowout.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, obviously if like I was to go perfect in Julia Roberts, it's 9, but you never know. I mean, to go perfect in any slice really is, you can't guarantee it in any slice because they might just ask that one question you're not sure about, even in your biggest strength.
Yeah. Real quick, MovieFanobi with the $4.99 super chat. Adams v. Adams Texas death match with barbecue and I want barbecue now. Thanks. So Brendan, why did you choose opponent spinners and or who's the side? So like, what did you like?
Are they saying like to have it on the wheel? Because I think it's always on the wheel in a normal match.
Let's see if we maybe get like clarification on that. As far as like, what did you put on the wheel type of thing? Why did you choose opponents to spinners and or who decides?
There's a spoiler. You might not want to look at it, but yeah. What did I choose? They're asking what I put on the wheel. Can't.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
can't say that in public.
Yeah, that's one of those, like, it's great to know, but yeah, that's one of those few, and it's one of those we know going into doing this show. We probably won't get that answer on most people, and I understand why, just because of strategy.
Oh,
yeah.
See them in the chat here. They're asking, they've had some recent matches that haven't had opponents and spinners. So the way that you guys can explain it, or I can, it's up to you. But you guys, I mean, it's
the what?
It's typically title matches. It's usually title matches where
the champion has the option of whether or not to have it on the wheel. So really what happens is when you look at like the last couple of title matches, it's been Dan Murrell, right? And Dan Murrell doesn't put it on the wheel. But if you go back and look at when Ben played Dan in Atlanta, I believe it was on the wheel when Ben was the champion. And so that's the difference. Any league match of 3 will always have both.
Yeah, I would say he does that. I know Oyama has done that when he had the belt. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Pow.
Right. So
sound effects are always necessary for me.
Questions in the realm of Julia Roberts, Mark. Do it.
All right, that is correct. This
And
is
as soon as StreamYard wants to work with my little like Stream Deck toy that I have that could allow sound effects, you won't have to do them with your mouth.
Julia Roberts play a maid.
Oh, Mary, what's her last name? Riley.
That's
Yeah.
2 points. I
knew it.
What he said.
I count that. That's a point. Give me a point for that.
And that is, which of Julia Roberts' films also co-stars Ryan Reynolds, Willem Dafoe, and Emily Watson?
Ryan Reynolds. That's a good question. Is it like one of those like Valentine's Day or something?
4, 3.
Just repeat the question.
Yeah, at this point, I definitely feeling like I should know it. I'm trying to use the JTE here. Those are pretty reputable actors. I was just going to see them in a scene together. I'm like, what movie?
Yeah.
Or what movie are they on the poster? But,
I think it's like Valentine's Day.
It's
5, 4, 3.
No, multiple choice. Multiple choice.
All right.
Darn it.
I typically know like movies that Ryan Reynolds is in.
Is it A, Eat, Pray, Love?
I guess not.
Fireflies in
pretty
the
obscure
Garden,
film, but I was able to get it pretty easily. Choice all was said and done.
B, Fireflies in the Garden.
That's the thing about these questions. I've asked a lot of questions recently, and I actually think this actor has co-starred with these people. Question can get without multiple if you don't know, but it is gettable with multiple if you're able to know enough about the other movies they asked
Julia
about.
Roberts and Richard Gere starred in together.
So Runaway Bride?
Pretty Woman was the first. Runaway Bride, I think, was the second.
Yeah, I went multiple choice. I was thinking Runaway Bride too. I went multiple choice because I just got a little tight in thinking about. I hope there wasn't something that they were in that we were starring together. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Wait, was she in Dr. T and the Women?
Got the shoes in the poster.
I don't actually know.
Okay.
For another point.
It is Runaway Bride.
After Runaway Bride, if
Christian's already enjoying a 5-point lead, but he could really get into a
but yeah, then it's another thing where when you know that you're just trying to get to
right now.
6, you know, you don't want to make a silly mistake at this point and give up a 2-point steal.
Has Julia Roberts been directed by Woody Allen?
Was that Closer?
How well do you know Woody Allen movies?
Was that Closer?
I'm just going to be safe here and go multiple choice.
This is the only regret I have in match, just in terms of like I pretty much did know this. I just kind of got a little hung up on not saying the title wrong.
Or D, everyone says I love
Celebrity.
D, everyone says I love you.
It's everyone says they love you, and it's funny. I remember that at one point, like not too many months ago, actually, somebody asked me about something, some question like this, and I actually said everybody says I love you.
And we bring them out
wrong.
Go over the rules.
And so in the moment here, I got a little bit tight in my mind. I was like, ooh, is it everyone or everybody? Like, I hope I didn't flip it in my head. And I just went safe. But I probably should have gone with that because there is a difference between 7 and there is a bit of a difference between 7 and 6. So that's the only regret though with that. Luckily, I was able to play safe and get to 6.
Yeah, I think you're still sitting in a really good position here going into round 3 as well. even with a couple multiple choices and whatnot. So.
Yeah, it's one of those funny things where, like, Fireflies in the Garden, I don't think I would have gotten without multiple choice, but the other two, it's one of those weird things where, like, in round 3 for 1, I get both of those right, but the multiple choice there, sometimes you choose to take it.
To a different corner of movie trivia.
I think I need to catch up on some Woody Allen movies.
Your next one is worth 3 points. And the last one, do we make it that
is
far?
Annie Hall available to stream?
Yes, you. Advancing to the next round of the tournament.
I haven't even seen that.
Marc Andreyko currently trails the kid by 6 points, 17-11 in favor of Brendan.
Controversy aside, I feel like at this point it's kind of like I need to catch up on some Roman Polanski movies.
20. Feel lucky.
1, 9, and 4.
1, 9, and 4 for the kid.
Hideous numbers. You did a really bad job picking.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Marc
Okay,
Andreyko.
cool.
2, 10, and 5.
I think I'll watch that I'm off for the next 2 days. There's a movie I can watch.
I just noticed, I don't know if Mark actually was one higher than all of my numbers.
I think yours are charming and have better
Oh, they
personality.
took one of your numbers?
No, he didn't take one of my numbers. I said 194, and he went 2, 10, and 5. So I didn't notice it in the moment, but I guess he just went more higher than everything I said.
You will have 60 seconds.
I wonder if he does that with other opponents. Like, if they go first, he just
Use
takes one.
of JTE was perfect, and I love that you trusted your instinct as soon as you knew whether or not.
I have seen Rosemary's Baby.
That's how you're playing today. That's how you're playing the season, man. It's truly been a championship season for you. Going with multiple choice when you needed, going.
Bibbs and I did a great job of supporting each other. In both the teams last year. It's been great to have Coy there. Actually, virtually, it's actually kind of nice virtually to have a manager there, like with this move to the digital age. And weirdly, that's like a positive thing about the digital age. Everybody has a manager.
Just trying to stay.
Yeah, Schmoedown was gone digital last year. Like, not everybody would have had a manager.
Keep those momentum up. I'm really impressed, and that's saying something to know how good you are. I'm proud, man. Let's do it.
All right, Roxy, 2 seconds to talk to Andreyko.
Suggested singles tournament: Ethan Irwin versus Vinny Mancuso. We highly recommend watching that as well. It was a fantastic match. Go watch that and then come back and watch our replay of it.
YouTube really wants us to redo that one. Apparently,
I don't want to replay a replay, especially when the power went out a couple of times.
You should do a reaction to the reaction and take people through all the power outages and the.
If we do a reaction to our reaction, I'd probably spend half the time going, dude, you need to have as much energy as you had when Brendan Meyer was on your show. That's what it would amount to.
Well, you're going to get your first question. Thank you to Roxy and thank you to Coy. We're going to remove you. Marc Andreyko, your first category that you chose. You ready to go, sir?
Yeah.
All right. You chose category number 2. That is in the realm of the 19.
I put my hands up, and that's me realizing I don't really have to have my hands in view because I can't. Here's the question. So.
What is the name of the crime family?
The Corleone.
To the film, The Godfather.
The Corleone family.
Thank you, Jake.
All right. So
yeah, that link right there. That's an important link. Everyone who's watching, make sure you go to that link.
I just cursed myself, by the way.
Follow the instructions.
You're beyond words.
I'm sure they are. So let's go to the next question. Mark, go in order to get within.
Yeah, guys. Also, if you want to drop any questions in there for our guest Brendan before we end the match and do all the post-match business,
comic book movies.
Feel free to drop them in that link.
Real quick, just be safe.
Oh, sorry.
You're fine.
Oh no.
Comic book movies. Here it is.
Comic book movies. At this point, you're playing Marc Andreyko. You go, okay. He's gonna get this probably.
Played
Vinny Jones
in X-Men: The Last
on the Juggernaut.
For 3 more points, Marc Andreyko finds himself.
Something was in my throat.
He's got to.
The dicey part, right, where when you've done what I do, you start to go, uh-oh, because you rolled the dice there hoping that you wouldn't have to answer any questions, and now you're like,
Will win.
you get this right. I got to get 2 out of 3 to win it.
Well, I mean, I get why the 6 points. 6 points is a good safety net to have.
Yep.
Oh no, it's great. A lot of the time, it's just in this moment. This is when you start to go like, oh no.
I might actually have to do something here at the last. Yeah.
Yeah.
In what? Excuse me.
And rom-coms are very broad.
You're like, I like how you're praying.
By a pediatrician by the name of Steve Edison.
I personally figure out what it is. I didn't know it when they asked
2001 rom-com.
If I can point out the moment where I figure it out myself in my head, because I didn't know it at this point.
Was that How to Lose a Guy or
no? No, it's not.
5, 4.
Made in Manhattan.
Repeat the question.
First one.
It's not How to Lose a Guy because you got to think about what his position was in that movie.
I can't remember.
McConaughey play a pediatrician by the name of Steve.
Being a pediatrician would not require you to try to woo somebody.
Oh, yeah. I'm a doctor. I help children. Oh, okay.
and I have to woo you in 10 days.
I'm going to say
4.
Failure to launch.
And your winner.
Oh.
Technical knockout. Brendan.
Wow. Well, hold up. You got a TKO on Marc Andreyko.
Wedding planner. Okay.
Marc Andreyko going to put you in the waiting
That's
room.
why opponent's choice can help you out. Thankfully, though, it's like it's opponent's choice. These days in the league, though, you really got to make sure you can pick the right slice for your opponent, though, because
let's start with
as
you
you
here.
can see, he's so competitive in round 1 and 3 that, like, if you get lucky to get opponent's choice,
Come in, man.
But this is a massive.
you got to take advantage because that's a totally different match if he's able to get within. Even if I give him something and he gets better than he got, or I don't steal, it's a very different match.
This 4 points. How'd you feel about the performance?
I'm the juggernaut female dog.
Wow.
Thank you, Garth, keeping us friendly.
Any sport, there are some people that just shine. They know
How to Lose a Guy. He was an advertising agent, or was it a sports agent?
Played using his
There's a callback.
That's right.
Navigated using 3-point. I mean,
That's another Ben Bateman callback, right?
Oh, good Lord. Let's not start.
Play Bib.
We'll never get Ben Bateman on this channel. We absolutely love that guy.
It's not someone you TKO. Marc Andreyko is not something you go into thinking the third round is going to go this
Look,
way.
you got to stay relevant, otherwise you get lost in the shuffle.
Match, and he played like I have full confidence in us going all the way, and this was an all the way game. Like, that was truly beautiful, kid, man. That was art.
Thanks, Goy. Thanks. I mean, look, opponent's choice takes things. It's still a great win, but that is definitely a bad luck for Mark. If I got opponent's choice, he could be in this exact same spot.
TKO, the kid obliterates.
There's been a lot of times where
this is why Garth is in our comments. Garth is so good at stuff like that.
Where it felt like I've been really unlucky on the wheel, and so for me, I feel like it's nice. I feel like I finally was able to have my best stuff. I got a little lucky now, but I had my best stuff against an elite opponent, and I was nervous there, man. I mean, I played to be 6 ahead, but the momentum swings all the way back if he hits all 3. So I was very, very lucky that he was able to run into a 5 he didn't quite know.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Which is commendable from that deficit.
Yeah.
Now that you guys know it's definitely interesting going into a potential third round match against somebody. I always think when you TKO someone, it's kind of a different mode going back into it because it's like kind of had one where you weren't in the same mode as you normally are. So it'll be interesting to see going into whoever I play in the third round, and it'll be a very different second round, I'm sure. Well, I mean, if I'm really lucky, but probably it will be a very different second round.
But then again, that name's tricky. Is it everyone? Is it everybody? I know I've messed that up in the past. So
you feel like that does like shift your momentum just a little bit.
And like I said, I was pretty sure it was.
It's just a different thing, because you sort of you played and I had the same thing happen to me, in the tournament last year where I had a couple TKOs in a row, and then it's just it's very different when you then start playing in a match. It's weird because I had a weird tournament season because I had 2 TKOs where everything went my way, and then I got KO'd where everything didn't go my way. So I had like a weird. I wanted to play like 3 matches in a row where I didn't answer any round 3 questions, which is sort of a bizarre thing. So it's when you start getting to those matches like this year, one against Malone and then one against Alonso, which were right down to the bitter end.
Look, someone like Adam Collins, he's like could be the new Paulo Yama or the new Chance Ellison, and I've had tough tests.
Oh yeah, Collins is.
There are different types of challenges because I guess each one.
Yeah, and it's funny because like at this point.
One will be very, very difficult.
I obviously know how good Lon is, and I also knew that Collins had TKO'd Roke. I don't think it had aired yet. So when they asked me the question, I was able to sort of I knew both of them were kind of equally formidable, even though not everybody knew that quite yet.
This is a big run here, and in a month from now, we have a big pay-per-view coming up, and it is one of our biggest pay-per-views of the year, where you have another team's title match, and your team. This could be the first time, boy, that anybody to a
I have to refresh myself on the bracket every now and then, because there's just so many people who are in this tournament.
It's obviously going into.
Try to remember where everybody falls in the bracket. Yeah, so you're up against either Lon or Adam Collins.
Lon or Adam Collins, both tough, both different though. I think I just said that there too. Like they're very different types of players. Because you're either playing like someone comes from Fan League who's newer to the game, but as we've seen Paul and Chance, these people sort of arrive fully formed. Lon, who's a great player, but he's been around for a while as well. And either way, you're playing one of the bigger factions of the year, right? You got Swag and
like I don't believe the movie's done until the check's in the mail. This is not.
I love this whenever there's a quirky Mercs match, because every time Coy is sitting here with that Deadpool bust behind him, I feel the need to check my credit and see if I can finance one of those bad boys. And every time I get told no,
just consistently, it's beautiful.
For the quirky Mercs, Brendan Meyer defeats the android Marc Andreyko.
Because I think, like,
17-16.
Going back to like who you're playing next, I mean, you're looking at Adam Collins. Adam Collins has the home field advantage of being very used to playing in this kind of format.
Totally. Yeah, I think that would be. It's funny. It's one of those things where I really do think like. Now, I guess it's not as big a deal just because I've played 4 digital matches now, but even though he's played way more, it's like at least I'm not. But I do think it's a big difference when you're first coming in against some of these other players. Like if I was playing him in round 1 or something, I think it would have been a lot more of an advantage.
Was the deciding
For sure.
factor. If I had gotten Julia Roberts, I knew all those questions, 2 pointers. So once again, it's a matter of the wheel was the great equalizer here. Because I would love to play Brendan with no opponent's choice, no spinner's choice. I think that movie release dates is just not my thing, and it never will be because I'm never going to devote the time to the math part of it. I like movies. I don't like math and numbers.
No, Cam.
Oh, geez, no. No.
Scott, when he's 3 points ahead of me, that gives you a chance.
This is more likely.
Just so we're clear, for those of you playing at home, that's an almost $1,000 bust.
Yeah.
And nobody needs to buy that for us. It's fine.
Roxy, my compliment
I
to
don't
Marc
need
Andreyko.
that. It looks nice, but I don't need it.
A fresh
Mainly because I don't have a real good place to put it.
Matches, and he can take the emotional complexity of
I
competing.
think that I Mark and Jeff, the odd couple. I mean, I think that's definitely got to be one of the most dangerous teams in the team tournament. I mean, that's not exactly that's a pretty
that I ever
level take. I think a lot of people agree with that, but it doesn't make it any less true. I think
after a match when
they're going to be very, very dangerous.
Answers that you just couldn't access. That didn't happen.
Yeah, that's.
I think that Mark, it's like a match like this, kind of weirdly, I think doesn't like. It's weird because you think a TKO would, but when it has opponent's choice and stuff, it's like. I don't think it really shakes his confidence or anything going into the tournament, or not that it would normally, not that he's that kind of player. He's pretty calm, but it just, you don't even have any baggage of like, oh man, I almost feel like matches like this, you're able to get over easier than if like he had the chance to win in the 5 and almost knew it. And like, it's just, that would have been a lot worse. And I think that the nice thing about, I know it from the Ben Bateman match. I mean, that's one of the matches I think about the least, because you're just sort of like, that just wasn't my day. Got opponent's choice, got some tricky stuff in round 1 that I didn't know when usually I'm good in that round. So you just kind of get over it. Whereas where you were like, question away, you think about it a lot longer because you're like, oh, if one thing had been different.
He's got to look elsewhere, and you never know. He's the Dennis Rodman.
Plus, you're also looking at a situation where he's like going off of a singles into a team, so he knows he's going to have Snyder to rely on also a little bit too. So it's a little bit more comforting than just.
Yeah. I'm excited to get to kind of to watch the tournament this year. Hopefully, with the team's belt. But regardless, it's kind of nice to having gone through it last year, and having been able to win. It's like you're really in this situation where you're like really have nothing to gain from playing it again. like either it's so tough that like the chances of winning it 2 years in a row are so slim anyway that like you're basically like when we were going to do Who's the Boss, I'm like, I hope we just win because like we could win the team tournament again, but like it's gonna be hard. So I'm just kind of excited to not have to go through all that again because I'm happy to win matches in a row. Even just those 2 we had to win there back-to-back weeks was a roller coaster. I'm glad to just have one shot at it, and it'll be tough, but you just get that one shot and see what happens.
Upset about if Jeff wants to be my partner or not.
Yeah, I definitely want to do some like hyping up of that match once the video is over here because we want to. Okay, there he is.
The truth is, and people have to remember.
Okay, so I won't do my imitation of Roxy anymore. I get it.
One match we lost, and there would have been so many more matches had it not been for this crazy time that we're in right now. So obviously, there's been a long.
That is.
For both Mark and Snyder to be like, what does this mean? Once we get in the tournament, once we're kicking butt, I know the 2 of them are going to click into place.
The thing is, though, is that like you can only put movie release dates against Mark if you also feel pretty good about it. You know, it's like you can't just unless you're like the only time you can ever really put something on the wheel is if I guess if someone comes into the league and they feel like they're not that good and then Mark's going to beat them and it's worth it for them to go for the Hail Mary. But I kind of feel like if you feel at all good about your chances and movie release dates is also tricky, you can't really use it. There's a lot of spaces on the wheel, right, that are potentially dicey. That a lot of players would struggle with, and you don't see them that often because you have to be good at it to use it. You know,
it feels kind of similar to what Janine did against the Warfathers with giving him Spike Lee, where she's like, I feel like I'm going to do pretty good at some of these questions, and he's not, so I'm going to snag all the steals off of this.
That's a huge difference. If you got the big 2-point steal, I think she got 3 points worth of steals from that, and that's just as important. That's important. If your opponent is going to miss, obviously it's valuable, but you're also going to steal.
I didn't know.
I mean, that's what turns it from a match that you can really, if you can really take advantage of opponent's choice that way, then you actually can TKO someone who's just as good at you as the game. Whereas if you choose wrong, a player like Andreyko can hang in there for a while. And if you bungle the 3rd round, it's like
he comes back to bite you.
He made the risk of knowing that he can go up by 6. Could have probably taken a shot on a couple, been up by 8 or whatever it might have been, but he decided to go. I'm going to go in with 6.
It's always a learning experience because I might handle this differently in the future. Like maybe I try to get to 7 or something like that. It's just hard because you give up 1 steal because you stayed the wrong thing, and all of a sudden you've given it all back, right?
Number 1, and knowing the bonus question, it looked like it was going to go down to the wire. Did not work because sometimes that Schmoedown wheel give it, and sometimes it take it the way. But
we've seen a lot of spinners and opponent stuff this year.
It separates the goods.
Happened a lot.
So whoever wins between the delinquent and Coyote,
I like those just because of the added drama that they bring, though.
Oh yeah, no. I always say like it's tough because. It does kind of tilt certain matches one way or the other, but you need to have some variance in the league and stuff like that. And I also think opponents and spinners incentivizes people to be more strategic with what they put on the wheel because they want to take advantage of those slices. I mean, I think that Bateman did that pretty brilliantly in his run to the title.
Didn't get it done, but could they get it done?
It helps those strategic players, and that's good for the league too. That people who are doing the strategy can take advantage of that stuff.
Schmoedownlive.com or patreon.com/Schmoedown. Join for the $10 tier. Mark?
Christian, you can enjoy us wherever you enjoy your podcast. If you're afraid to look at us because we're so darn handsome, just enjoy us in your ears. And as always, continue to watch the Schmoedown. Check out the Facebook fan page. That's where there's all sorts of talk back and forth about upcoming matches and the stuff that just went down. Plenty more in this tournament and in the future of the Schmoedown. Got a big teams tournament around the corner. Spectacular. Still looking forward to that later on this year. It's a good time right now. It's a scary time in the world, but Christian, in the neighborhood of the Schmoedown, boys, it friendly.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Good win on that. Really good. TKO against Marc Andreyko is fantastic.
Plus, it's like fantastic for the quirky mercs right now too, because you guys are like rising up the ranks as a faction. So it's always helpful getting that extra point in there.
No, and it's big, because it's going to be hard. I mean, if Bibbs and I can both go on a run in the tournament and certain other people lose, I guess there's a chance to get back to number 1 in the standings. But that is going to be tough. However, I think we have a really good shot to stay at number 4, which would be great. I think that's still a great finish, even though you're trying to shoot for number 1. And I think if Haley and Perry can get some wins in the teams tournament, that's also an avenue that we could get to first. If they go on a run there, then we really could get to first. So that's also a possibility. But I do think that like there's something to be said for we're at 4th now. We were down near the bottom. We've risen up. I really do want to see us stay in that situation, and I think we can. And the Rockstars is one of those teams that was really nipping at our heels. And it's definitely cool to be able to sort of help out the Mercs in that way, at least to kind of keep a team like the Rockstars at bay. Because look, if the wheel goes different, the match goes different, and Marc Andreyko gets through this, there's no reason he can't beat Collins or Lon. I mean, look at the people that he's beaten in his career. So yeah, it was great. It was great to be able to help the faction out in that way, and especially at the beginning of the year, because there's all this hype, the draft. Bibbs and I get drafted. We go to New York. We play really well, but we don't win. And I hadn't put any points on the board for the team at all. And the league is so competitive that I'm sitting there going, okay, Alonso Duralde in round 1. I mean, that's not a gimme in any way. And final exam is not a gimme. So I could get no points for the faction. And so it definitely feels good to have at least won a few now, that no matter what happens going forward, But I mean, backstage we have not taped my 3rd round match, so I'm not being coy or no pun intended.
Hey, that's actually really good.
I'm not being coy about the next round. I genuinely haven't played it, so I don't know yet how much further I'm going to go.
Speaking of your faction, though, we got a question here. T4 says, "How do you feel about the Mercs team in the teams tournament? The witching power." Since you mentioned them.
I feel great about it. I mean, I think Haley and Perry are both really, really great players. I think they already have an amazing built-in chemistry from doing the podcast together and being friends. That's a big help, especially virtually, right? It's a big help virtually because, you're not in the same room as each other to be able to build chemistry, but they don't need to because they spend so much time together already. So that's a good thing for them. And yeah, I mean, I think Haley's great. I mean, I've always been impressed with her when she's played, in singles and in teams. I think she's always played really well. And then Perry has always played well. And this year, Perry had the win over Kalinowski. And, we don't know yet what's going to happen with Riley and her, but I just know she always comes to play. And I think that that's a really, really good team. I think that's really, really good. And but I will say they have announced that they're in the play-in match against who they're playing, right? Didn't they announce that?
I want to say they're up against Adam Witten.
Yeah, they did say that, right?
Okay.
I heard that on backstage. So that's a tough team too. So it's like all these matches where, but I have a lot of faith in them. I have a lot of faith in them to be able to get past Zip and Wit. Not so much because Zip and Wit are very, very good. It's more just that I know they have the ability to beat most of the teams in the league, if not all the teams. I know they can do it. They have strong strengths, and that's what you need, right? Good round 1, have those strengths that you can run, and anyone can beat anyone, especially in a 3-rounder, right? Because you just got to get ahead and ride it out from there. Obviously, there's some tough teams in the teams tournament though, so it's going to be interesting to see who wins.
That's
tough.
That's what I was wanting to touch on too. Is this teams tournament is kind of insane because even the unknown quantities at this point are all look very promising in terms of what they're going to be able to bring to the table. And so now you have the situation where obviously like you and Bibiani are not in the team's tournament. You have the shot at the belt right now going up against Corruption. And that is absolutely coming here within the month or so. So that's something to look forward to.
They announced. Yeah.
And then, so you're in a position right now where you don't, either way, whether you win the belt or you don't, you're looking at the team's tournament going, whew, don't have to play against that murders row.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, that's how I felt going into, well, it's funny because it's like, it was almost like a mini tournament, like having to beat final exam and who's the boss back to back. I mean, it was basically like we based, I mean, they kind of, with the way the season shook out, they essentially were the best 2 teams in the league. Obviously I include Shazam in that kind of mix, but Who's the Boss was able to beat The Odd Couple, another elite team, and then Final Exam kind of went through all these other teams with winning records that debuted. So Final Exam was sort of like the greatest team of the new era, and then Who's the Boss is the greatest team from like 2 years ago and last year and all this stuff. So I didn't know. I just didn't know that if Shazam was going to be able to beat those teams, because they're just so good, and it's just hard. You have to get things to go your way. And so, to be able to have gotten through that was great, because if for some reason we lose to one of them, I'm back in the same spot where I'm like, okay, so we have to beat a really great team in round 1, someone probably like Final Exam again, or The Odd Couple, who we already played and it was really close. And you're probably looking at like a team like the Founding Fathers you might be playing in the final, who we of course didn't beat. I'm really glad that we get our shot at Corruption, or the Founding Fathers, either one, whichever team that was going to be, to get a shot at it. Feels good because and it's good also mentally. We came close to winning the belts last year. I know going into this year, one of my biggest goals, obviously, to win the belts, but really just wanted another chance. It really wanted to make sure that we proved as a team that it wasn't a fluke or something last year, or not even a fluke, that we weren't a one-year team, that we could come back after a layoff and get wins again. So it feels good.
So here's the question I feel like everyone wants to know. When will we get your heel turn? We've been waiting a long time for it.
I gotta be honest. I don't want to put a damper on anything like that, but I don't know if I'll ever really want to go heel, even though I love the acting side of the heel thing. I love the character side of it. That as an actor, it is exciting to me. I don't know if I could ever really reconcile that with the game. I just think that I would kind of get in my own head a bit about if I was what I was saying and how to do it. I'm just not sure that I can balance it in the way the greats do. You know what I mean? I'm just not sure that I could ever play the game that way.
It's about trying to keep focus on
contend with, which would be doing character work or trying to live up to, being a heel. I just worried that would interfere with me. I don't think I'd play as well.
Yeah. You're trying to keep focus on your game and what it is you're doing, actually answering the questions correctly and everything. And then you're like, oh, wait, no, I also have to act like a complete jerk this entire time, too.
I love watching the heels, though. And I mean, we saw maybe a little bit on Friday, we might be getting full heel Ben back again, which would be pretty fun. That would be pretty fun.
I mean,
so Garth, in short, the answer to your question is next week.
The match this year, I'm just going to go, you know what? F this. Kidding. Just kidding.
Just to be clear, this is going to be the longest heel watch ever.
Yeah. Let's see. What else do we got? We got some good questions on this one. Camshaft is asking, were you pleased with how the Val and Love Fraud were edited and directed? Would love to know your opinion about the proliferation of the documentary series and their distinct pace and aesthetic. The Val, is this 2 separate ones that we're talking about? Or is it called The Val and Love Fraud?
Am I just spacing it? Those names don't ring a bell to me.
There's a documentary of the Vow that is popular on HBO Max right now, and it's all about the Nexium, the Nexium, the thing that Allison Mack from Smallville was involved in.
I'm familiar with that story. I've not seen either of those shows, so I can't comment on it. I gotta be honest.
I want to watch the Vow.
I stuff. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I do want to watch The Vow just because I'm a huge Smallville fan, and it breaks my heart to see that Chloe Sullivan was caught up in something like that. So I want to see just what that was about. But at the same time, there's a part of me that's I don't want to see what Chloe Sullivan was mixed up in. So
yeah, it's funny. A lot of TV stuff, when I'm in this thing here where I'm going through the tournament, and I haven't probably for at least a month and a half, 2 months. I've mainly been just watching movies that I think they might ask about. Honestly,
yeah, fair. Absolutely fair.
Not in a sometimes it's not even in a targeted way. Like sometimes it is, but a lot of the time it's just like, okay, if I'm going to set time aside for a movie tonight, or to watch something, I'm probably going to choose something that there's at least like a chance that it's going to be asked about,
And that almost feels like the same direction for us. Like, obviously, like we're not like competing in the Schmoedown just quite yet, but at the same time, we're trying to run a channel that talks about
states though, man. Like, I mean, I think when you guys get in there, that might be
this is the perfect time. We're in the virtual world. We don't have to go anywhere. We can stay in our apartment in Austin, Texas. Even better.
This was not the point that I was trying to bring up.
Even better, we're a team and we're in the same apartment. He is literally in the other bedroom of the same apartment.
I'm not getting up and running over there for the gag.
And so, no, you don't have to. People know. If they're following us, people who know us know. But
so the point I was trying to get at was that
before we went on this weird tangent.
Shut up. It was kind of the same vein that that we're running a movie YouTube channel. So more than likely, if I'm going to watch something, I'm probably going to put on a movie to kind of stay on top of what we know and all of that, just to try to look like we know things on this channel,
I think the most I've been able to devote to any kind of TV right now is, especially now, I've been keeping up with The Boys on Amazon Prime. That is a fantastic show. I love that show. But that's about it. Otherwise, I'm watching a movie or so if I can.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back out. Like anyone who's asked questions before, I will try to go back and hit them. But I like this one. Who do you think Kevin Smith's next opponent should be? Easy. Rachel Silvestrini.
That would be fun. I know Rachel's such a huge Kevin Smith fan. That'd be fun. And also, Kevin Smith, she'd be good at that. Probably just as good as Kevin is in some way, with the way she is.
I have complete
be able to use that on opponent's choice again. Yeah, Rachel.
I have complete faith that Rachel Silvestrini could beat Kevin Smith at Kevin Smith movies.
Kevin Smith Iron Man match. That's what we need.
It needs to be a Kevin Smith Iron Man match.
It would be really fun if they could do something like that with Kevin, where it actually is like Kevin Smith versus Rachel and anybody else who wants to jump in there in like a Kevin Smith Iron Man match.
That's the thing, and the downside to this is the Schmoedown is still like it's very much still in an infantile stage. It's still trying to grow and build that audience. Those of us that are fans, we know the players, we know how the game is set up. We're all wanting to see Rachel versus Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Because we know her, we know him, we know how this. But for the common person who just happens to stumble upon the Schmoedown like this week, they're not going to know that. And I know Christian is trying to play to getting the audience in as much as possible.
Yeah.
I hope Kevin Smith sticks around long enough to where there will be at least a Kevin Smith exhibition match on Patreon, because you will get all the patrons to sign up for that. If I could tell you to sign up at our Patreon match and we'll give you the Kevin Smith and Ray, we would get all the patrons right then. Please don't sign up at patreon.com/cinefanatics for that. We are not providing that match.
Let's move on to the next question.
I don't want to false advertise.
Or who do you think? Sorry, Brendan. Who do you think, real quick? Who should be Kevin Smith's next opponent?
No, I mean I'm happy to go on the Rachel Silvestrini thing. Let me see, just to say somebody else.
I feel like that's the most obvious one.
I think Kevin is fun against anybody. I mean, I think he would be fun. It's fun to see him interact with any of the great characters. It'd be fun to see him play like someone like Tom or someone like Lon Harris. I just think him interacting with another one of the more entertaining players, and it would be fun.
It's got to be someone who has their character work down pat that is coming out of left field. So yeah. I would want him to go up against like Andrew Guy back in like the dastardly Andrew Guy phase. If he can face the dastardly one, that would be great. But I do like the idea of Tom and bring Tom in with the hoodie and all, and you get like Kevin Smith, like, the hell is this? I think that would be great, and that would throw Kevin off completely. Let me see. I want Brendan to snap like when Roxy is razzing him. Shut up, Roxy. I've had enough of your malarkey.
No.
Do you ever study previous matches of upcoming opponents to see their weaknesses and strength? You can skip the Adam Collins match in April against me.
Absolutely, man. I mean, that's all part of it. I mean, it wasn't something I did as much early on. This year, I'm doing it more because, a lot of the great players do that, so I try to do that more this year. Actually pay attention. I mean, that's why Classics was on the wheel against Who's the Boss, is that, I was able to know, I mean, Ben missed every steal opportunity against Paul at Spectacular. So that's why, ever since then I've been like, well, maybe Classics is the way to go if I ever wind up playing him again. And obviously Riley too, is a little gamble because I know he's better at Classics, but he had never really run it or had it before. So yeah, I mean, it helps. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like it's this match against Andreyko similar to the match against, Who's the Boss. It's like, if you get opponent's choice, it's a massive advantage, but if you don't use it right, you can still lose pretty easily when you're playing really elite opponents because like Who's the Boss, they're going to know a lot in almost everything on the wheel every time. So you have to make sure you either, put the right stuff on the wheel or sort of get lucky enough that the right thing is on there, and then you're able to give them the right thing.
Yeah. We got Eric Chan is asking, if you weren't on the Quirky Mercs, which faction would you want to join? I can see you thrive on Swag or the Usual Suspects.
Yeah, those are good choices. I mean, it's one of these things. It's kind of the same thing when I think about playing with Bibiani. I really don't want another partner other than Bibbs. I don't want another manager other than Coy. But at the same time, I like a lot of other people in the league. There's a lot of other managers I think that I would also enjoy being around. Winston is definitely one of them, and we've seen what he does. Yeah. I also think that the Usual Suspects. I've always been a big Sam Levine fan, so that'd be fun. And I just think Corruption's cool too. I mean, even though they're more of a heel faction, so my character doesn't even fit in. I really think Shannon is a really good manager, and I think that they are a really tight faction and really support each other. And I think that's awesome.
I just got the idea. What if you were the one face player for the entire heel faction? So of course you would have Shannon and the Shannon Queen of Corruption glory sitting there just straight up heel, talking all that trash, and you're sitting over here I don't want to hurt their feelings.
Well, they were playing Dewberry earlier this season. That was the thing. They kind of had that dynamic with Dewberry early season, and I'm sure we would have seen the Hoyk and Dewberry team more this year if things weren't different and the matches didn't get more limited.
Yeah. These are good points though, because I see Winston and Coy are kind of cut from the same mold in terms of managing styles, at least from what we've seen in front of camera wise. Sure. And then Shannon also is kind of up there as well, only she's the other side of the coin. So
but Shannon's very good at working with her players, it's one of those things where it's Shannon is a heel manager, but she's, obviously nice to the people in her faction. So she's very supportive in the same way that these guys are with the people that are in her faction.
Right.
Garth cutscenes with Shannon Mike trying to coach Brendan on how to be a heel. I'm just not getting it. Yeah.
But it'd be fun because obviously if I'm given the opportunity, if Coy wants me to resign in one of the three that he has, I'll obviously do it. I'm hoping to just be with the Quirky Mercs next year, but it'd be fun to see if they could get somebody who's more of less of a corruption heel type and do stuff with them next season. That would be really fun if they get someone in the draft or something.
I compared that to kind of what the Marvel Cinematic Universe is doing, is that you have cutscenes that actually add to the story, that build more, lead to the next movie, and then you have some that are just pure fun. That I feel would be just pure fun. It's just Mike and Shannon we can't work with this. Cam, so. Thank you, Cam, for putting this back in. Easier to find. But how often do you and Oyama keep in touch? What about Bateman?
Yeah, I mean, Paul and I talk all the time. I mean, we talk several. I mean, anything Schmoedown. I mean, pretty much, if I hear about a match that happened or he hears about a match that happened, because obviously as the competitors, we hear about things before they air sometimes and things like that. So yeah, I talk to him about every match, and he's super helpful. I mean, like we'll always kind of be in touch. We talk about movies a lot too. It's not always just Schmoedown and life. We talk about life too. But yeah, I'd say he's one of the people I'm in contact with the most. Obviously, I'm in contact with Bibiani a lot too. And then Bateman is another person that I actually am in contact with, pretty frequently. I definitely did send him a note after Friday, just condolences.
Sorry, man.
Too dramatic.
Sorry,
sorry, man. There's tough loss, and obviously it was a bummer. You never want to see that really happen to any player, even though I like Dan too, and I wasn't like rooting against Dan or anything like that. But I would have been very happy to see Ben. I was very happy for Ben. I mean, it was tough when Ben played Bibbs and Oyama in Spectacular. It was tough because those are three of my favorite people in the league. So that was kind of a weird night because I wanted Bibbs to win the most. Like that's what I wanted, was to see Bibiani win the belt that night. So I was disappointed overall with what happened, but it was still a mixed emotion because I do have a lot of respect for Ben and the work that he's put in, and was happy to see him get to the top of the mountain. And I was happy when I saw Oyama get to the top of the mountain last year too.
Yep. Yeah. And guys, just to let y'all know, we're going to do a few more questions here, but we want to start wrapping up here pretty soon. So let's get the last few questions in here.
Ryan is asking, do you have a preference of Lon or Collins in round 3? Who you got?
Oh, you got in the match. I mean, I don't have a preference because, kind of like I said before, they're both pretty good players. Not pretty good. They're both great players, and so they're kind of on the same level. I mean, I haven't seen Collins as much, I guess. So but I think that what he did against Roca, and he was very strong in the play-in match too. So I think it's safe to say that he's probably, for real. I believe he is anyway. And so yeah, I mean, I think that they're about the same level of player. I think they're both really, really difficult. I mean, neither of them are a champion like Marc Andreyko is, but I think that they're pretty close to his level, if not on the same level. So either one would be difficult. As for who I have in the match, I want to say Adam Collins, but I also know that might be recency bias because he just did so well against Roca. And hey, look, Lon had a go in round 1 too. Obviously, Sabina's a good player, but she's not Roca, so it's not quite as I think the fact that that he beat TKO'd Roca means more than just he TKO'd somebody. So it's hard not to say him, but I feel like I don't want to give Lon not enough credit because he's such a strong player, and Lon can go perfect in round 1. He has so many strengths. So I guess I give the slight edge to Collins just because it feels like he might be the next Paul Oyama or the next Chance. And those players just seem to really thrive as soon as they come into the league. But I'm not going to be surprised if Lon Harris beats really anybody.
For sure. Let's see what else we got here real quick. Did you get the weird science question because of all the Oscars it was nominated for?
No, I mean, that was really one, when I knew, going into this year, I wanted to be a little bit better at movie release dates because I knew I was good at it, but I wanted to be better so that if I was in a situation where it was on the wheel and I could give it to the people I wanted to be able to steal. So I did study on that, actually.
That's I like that question only because, especially if you didn't watch that movie when it first came out, you go back and you watch Weird Science now, you're like, how did that get nominated for so many Oscars?
Right.
It doesn't feel like it makes sense.
Yeah, I think I want to do one more here, and then we'll do the plugs and call it a night. I like this one. If you play Lon as the delinquent kid coming back.
Yeah, that's funny. That's something to think about, actually. That would be anytime I play Lon again in the future, if he's still doing the delinquent thing. That's actually that we would bring it back to play him, whether it's next round or in the future. I think we would try to do that. That would be pretty fun, actually. I really loved that whole bit. That was actually Bibbs's idea largely. Or we kind of all come up with it together. And also it was largely Bibbs's idea to bring him back for that match that we played against Who's the Boss the next week. That was Bibbs's idea to be like, we should get Lon back. And so I love what Lon does as a character in the game. I love all his work. I love the professor character too. So it's been fun to kind of interact with that a bit this year.
Yeah, he's got the humor for this stuff down down to a T. It's
the Jonathan Harris thing was great too. Like the Harris brothers was very, very funny. Like that was some of the matches that I was in studio to watch, and before I competed, and like their little run there, and I just thought they were hilarious.
For sure. Well, let's go ahead and start wrapping this up. Brendan, if you've got anything to plug, now would be a great time to drop that and let the kids know where they can find you.
Yeah, check me out.
Kids.
Brendan KJ Meyer, Twitter and Instagram. It's the easiest way to find me. There you go. There you are. There you are. So there, it's right there, and that's all right. So yeah. Thanks again for having me on. Awesome.
There's 2 people that run this channel, so funsies.
Ridiculous. All right, brother. You know the drill. You do the plugs for us too.
Oh yes, we are coming to the end of this, so make sure you are following us, the Cinefanatics, on Twitter and Instagram. We are at Cinefanatics MLP. We are at Chris Adams MLP. Robert Adams MLP. Make sure you follow us there because we've got fun stuff coming. I believe, actually, I'll go ahead and plug this right now. I know the 2 of us are working on trying to vlog again. So we should hopefully have stuff up pretty soon, maybe. Make sure you follow us at our Twitters and our YouTubes. Yeah, I know. We're trying to work on it. We're trying to pump out more content. So, yeah, make sure you follow us there. Ryan Kramer, right off the bat, what does MLP stand for? It stands for Method Living Productions. That would be his video production company that he owns here in Austin, Texas. So if you are looking for video production work done in Austin, Texas, or anywhere else in the United States, if you want to pay a lot more, because you got to get them out of Austin.
Flying.
Make sure you hit that up. Also, make sure you join us for the Tagline. That is on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time. That would be tomorrow night. We will be talking about movies and movie-related content. We have a lot of fun on that show. Make sure you come back and watch that. It is a lot of fun for us to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just a lot of fun. I like the simple explanations. I'm not trying to do the hard sell. Make sure you come back and you watch that. You like movies? So do we. That type of thing.
What else are we doing?
We are also doing the Schmoedown replay, which is the show that we are currently doing right now. So as the Schmoedown is going on, come back. We're doing a live reaction to it pretty much every night the Schmoedown airs. So if there was a Schmoedown episode that night, there's a Schmoedown replay. So make sure you come back for that. Hopefully we have some really intriguing guests like we have had tonight. It's been a lot of fun.
A lot of great matches coming up this week. Second round is pretty exciting.
Yeah. There's a lot of good ones that are coming just in the second round. We don't even know what's going on in the third round yet. So
in this tournament, yeah, because it's like you pretty much can't. Every possible third round matchup is pretty exciting. So it'll be fun either way. Whoever wins any match.
Real quick, Ryan Kramer has got it down. 2-Stream Tuesday. Woot woot. That is absolutely correct. Tomorrow night will be 2-Stream Tuesday as we're doing Tagline at 9, and there will be the Schmoedown replay at 10:15. All of these times, of course, are in Central because that's where we're at, and I'm way too tired to try to figure out the time conversions. Hey, it could get kind of heavy, man. Anyways, I think that's it for the plugs. Oh yeah, patreon.com/cinefanatics. Hop on there. We were supposed to have a movie watch along this past Saturday. Unfortunately, the movie's not available, so we are going to have another one this coming Saturday. Definitely make sure you follow us on Patreon or on at least on our Twitter, as we're going to be announcing exactly what movie in the next probably 24 to 48 hours. Those of y'all that are in the chat, if you're a part of our Patreon, let us know what you want us to watch. We will take recommendations as well. So yeah,
as long as it's streaming somewhere, it's got to be streaming somewhere too, because that's kind of the kicker.
That was the kicker on last weekend. The movie all of a sudden wasn't streaming, and anyways, Follow us, patreon.com/cinefanatics. $10 tier gets you the movie watch along. Anyways, I feel like is about it. We're good?
Let's wrap it up.
Cool.
Wrap it up.
So, and watch Color Out of Space with Brendan as Nicolas Cage's son. Again, if you like body horror comedy, it is kind of there's funny parts in that. You interact with Tommy Chong, which is pretty good.
Tommy Chong is good in that.
If you like body horror, I highly recommend that movie. I believe it's available for streaming on Shudder, and they're not sponsoring us, but I'm going to mention them anyways. If you want to see it right now tonight, Shudder is your place to go. I'm just working on that plugging ability later. Anyways, that's gonna be it. Those of y'all in the chat, this has been a lot of fun. Thank y'all for being in chat. Thank y'all for the questions. We've had a lot of fun with this one. Thank you for being here. Make sure you come back tomorrow night for the next one. As for Brendan, thank you for being here for this. It's been it's been an honor having you on this match or this replay. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. As for my brother, as for myself,
because I would have done it regardless. So I'm glad.
Yeah.
That you asked the other day. I obviously wouldn't have said no if I lost. So I'm glad I won because it's a little fun to watch.
So as for my brother, as for myself, as for Brendan, thank y'all for watching. Y'all all have a great night and have a great evening.
Good night.
Later.
See ya. Fine, young tenderoni. Fine, young tenderoni.